I was listening to some film scores, one of which was actually the score from Thor by Patrick Doyle. And actually, I was just thinking, I became actually overtaken by the significance of it being the last thing I was going to say, and the length of the journey and how significant it's been for me in my life.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Celebrity Expert, your number one source for all things TV shows and celebrities. And in today's video, we're going to look at Tom Hiddleston talking about Loki.
In his mind, the consequences of Sylvie's actions are going to lead to a terrifying and cataclysmic war where everything will be destroyed. So he's got this extraordinary interior propulsion to solve the problem, to stop the war from coming, to find Sylvie, to make it right.
Before we begin with this video, here's a quick and easy question for you all. Can you all tell us, when did Tom Hiddleston feature for the first time in the Marvel movies? If you know the right answer, let us know in the comment section down below, or stick to the end of the video, which is when I'm going to reveal the answer to this question.
An unusual honor to get to play Loki for this length of time. Every iteration has been interesting. The ancient mythological inheritance of the character has such depth and breadth and profundity.
The season 2 finale of Loki wove together more than a decade of character development for Tom Hiddleston's titular character. As the episode's title indicates, the god of mischief finally fulfills his glorious purpose by taking on the ultimate burden in order to save his friends, as well as everyone who has ever existed.
On the exterior, he's charming and he seems in control and he's playful and he's mischievous, almost provocative. But I think he's alone and he's incapable of trust, and he's almost dismissive of the idea of human connection. I hope the season is sort of, I hope those themes are resonant for the audience as they watch it.
When Loki realizes that the temporal loom will never be able to safely hold all the branches of time, it doesn't take long for him to understand what he must do. The final moments of the episode see Loki using his own powers to revive and hold together all the branches of time at the Citadel at the end of time.
Because I believe that season 2 and the finale contains echoes and resonances of every single version of Loki that I have played.
He's no longer just the god of mischief, he is the god of stories, his own and everyone else's. Even in the midst of season 1, the creative team knew who they wanted season 2 to take Loki from a lowercase g god to capital G god, as Martin put it.
The contrast to trust is betrayal. Both characters are expecting betrayal at every turn. And they have to learn to trust each other and learn how to trust others, not just each other, but Mobius, B15, OB, Casey, and to connect to people and find connections, because actually that's all that life is.
Loki spends much of season 2 finale going back to various points in time to try to develop Victor Timely's multiplier faster in order to reconfigure the temporal loom before it explodes from holding too many time branches.
It's just that the viewpoint of the story is different. In the Thor movies, the viewpoint is from Thor's perspective. In the Avengers movies, it's from the Avengers' perspective. And in these sort of latter stages with the series, we're able to see things from Loki's perspective.
So it certainly packs quite a punch when Loki returns to the Citadel at the moment he and Sylvie first encounter who he remains, to find out that after spending centuries looking for another solution, the only way out to prevent Sylvie from killing the Kang variant, which he who remains knew all along. This is when Loki determines that there is no more option at play, but it will require him to sacrifice his own autonomy.
In the finale, knowing that that Loki he's learnt to control the time slipping. And I think the last line of episode 5 is, I can rewrite the story. It's almost like he's redrafting it. He's redrafting reality every time, choosing to go back. Okay, and then failing and failing and failing again. It's kind of like that Samuel Beckett quote, ever tried, ever failed, fail again, fail better.
It's a sinister move from He Who Remains and critical moment for Loki, who finally admitted one episode earlier that he was going through all this trouble not only to save the secret timeline, but also to preserve his friendships. A vast version of the character where likely would have made a different choice, especially after realizing that he had been put through certain centuries of only to land back at the same place he had already been.
You got a character who, for as long as he's been around, has been driven by self-interest, isolated largely by himself. On the surface, charismatic and charming and playful, but on the inside, defensive and vulnerable.
The complexity of the journey is what brought directors Justin and Aaron on board. Directing duo helmed the first episode as well as episodes 4 through 6. Benson estimates there were hundreds of meetings where the creative team talked through the sequence of Loki destroying the loom and taking his throne at the Citadel because of its importance to the series.
Where in that last episode, you hear strains of, whether it's in lines of dialogue, we are circling the same themes that I've always circled with Loki, that he's a character who's engaged with ideas of belonging, ideas of identity, ideas of purpose. That's who he was at the beginning in the first Thor film.
There is likely little to say to the man who has played this character since 2011's Thor, but the directors did have one suggestion for how Tom Hiddleston could lock in before shooting that momentous scene.
Loki's engaged with ideas of belonging and identity. Who am I?
Right, what's my place? Yeah.
Am I the monster that parents tell their children about at night? What am I? Tell me, he says to Odin. He's always trying to work out who he is. Who does he think he is and who is he really? Mobius confronts him with a different point of view. Sylvie confronts him with another point of view.
The sequence is made all the more powerful when Loki weaves the branches of time together to reassemble the sacred tree of Norse mythology that connects the 9 worlds. Martin called it a beautiful opportunity to be able to incorporate such a large element of Norse mythology into Loki's personal story.
I think it would be one of extreme surprise and confusion. In a way, also it's really interesting that if season 2, a great thread of season 2, not just for Loki but for every character, Mobius, Sylvie, is are we in charge of our own story? You can't know where you're going until you know where you've been.
The plan came about in January 2023 after the production had wrapped in October 2022. The post-production team spent about 7 months ensuring that the moment landed.
We certainly wanted to maybe to suggest that that the variant that we're running towards in episode 2 might be suggesting to the audience that this Loki could be coming up in front of a mirror image of himself.
Season 2 takes its characters on a journey through time both inside and outside of the TVA, and the Citadel at the end of time isn't the only season 1 moment that Loki returns to his finale. Once he understands that he must either kill Sylvie to protect He Who Remains or come up with another solution.
Psychological stuff, this purpose, meaning and identity, and it was just really exciting. And the only thing I said was, I don't want to break him. If we're going again, we have to carry with us everything that's gone before, but also refresh and renew and rethink and redefine and reinvigorate.
Alright guys, so the answer to the question I asked you at the beginning of the video is 2011. Yes, Tom Hiddleston made his debut as Loki in 2011's Thor. If you got this answer right, then you're a huge fan of Tom Hiddleston.
Everyone else is always part of the story. Odin, Thor, Frigga, and the Avengers. They all get emotionally involved in Loki's actions. And Mobius is actually there's a kind of initially dispassionate detachment, which allows Loki, I think, to feel seen.
Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, do like, share and comment on this video, and do not forget to subscribe to the Celebrity Expert, and we'll see you around next time with another brand new video. Till then, keep watching the Celebrity Expert. Bye guys.